Welcome to Audiobook 365 Stories.
Quartermaster Veraju got a week's leave from work to visit his sister, Madame Padoy. Veraju worked in the army at Rennes and enjoyed a fun and busy life. But now he had no money and needed help. He wrote to his sister and said he would spend a week with her. It was not because he liked Madame Padoy very much. She was serious, very religious, and often angry. But Veraju needed money, and he thought the Padoys were the only family he had never asked for help before. Père Veraju, his father, had been a gardener in Angers, but had retired from work. He had stopped giving money to his careless son, and they hadn't seen each other in 2 years. Veraju's sister had married Padoy, who used to work as a clerk in the treasury. Now, Padoy worked as a tax collector in Vannes. When Veraju got off the train, he asked someone to show him the way to his brother-in-law's house. He found Padoy in his office, talking to some Breton farmers. Padoy stood up, shook Veraju's hand across a table full of papers, and said, "Take a seat. I will be free in a moment." Then he sat back down and continued the discussion. The farmers didn't understand what Padoy was explaining. Padoy didn't understand their side of the argument. He spoke French, but the farmers spoke Breton. The clerk helping as an interpreter also didn't seem to understand either language well. This went on for a long time. Veraju watched his brother-in-law and thought, what an idiot. Padoy was almost 50 years old. He was tall, thin, and slow in his movements. He had thick, bushy eyebrows and wore a velvet hat with gold designs on it. He looked kind, and everything about him, his voice, his actions, his thoughts, was gentle and calm. But Veraju kept thinking, what a fool. Veraju was very different. He was loud and loved spending time in cafes and with women. These were the things that made him happy. He didn't care about anything else. He liked to show off and often felt he was better than others. When he said, what a party. It was the best compliment he could give. When the farmers finally left, Padoy looked at Veraju and asked, "How are you?" Veraju replied, "I am fine, as you can see." "And how are you?" "I am very well, thank you," said Padoy. "It is very nice of you to visit us." "I have been thinking about it for a while," Veraju said. "But, in the army, we don't have much free time." "Yes, I understand," said Padoy. "Still, it is kind of you to come." "And how's Josephine?" Veraju asked. "She is well, thank you. You will see her soon." "Where is she now?" "She is visiting some friends. We have many friends here. It is a very nice town." "I thought so," said Veraju. The door opened and Madame Padoy walked in. She went over to her brother, but she didn't look happy to see him. She leaned her cheek toward him for a kiss and asked, "Have you been here long?" "No, only about half an hour," he said. "Oh, I thought the train would be late. Will you come into the living room?" They left Padoy, who was busy with his work, and went into the next room. When they were alone, Madame Padoy said, "I have heard some things about you." "What have you heard?" he asked. "I hear that you are acting badly, getting drunk and making debts." Veraju looked surprised. "Me? Never." "Don't lie," she said. "I know it's true." Veraju tried to defend himself, but Madame Padoy started lecturing him. She talked so much that he didn't know what to say. Finally, she said, "We will have dinner at 6 o'clock. You can do what you like until then. I can't spend time with you. I have too much work to do." When she left, Veraju wasn't sure what to do. Should he take a nap or go for a walk? He looked at the door to his room, then at the door leading outside, and decided to go out. He walked slowly through the quiet town. The Breton town was small, sleepy, and calm. It sat by a bay called Le Morbihan. He looked at the little gray houses, the few people on the streets, the empty shops, and said to himself, Vin is so boring. Coming here was a bad idea. He walked to the empty harbor, then along a lonely street. By 5 o'clock, he was back at the house. Feeling tired, he lay on his bed and slept until dinner time. A maid knocked on his door and said, "Dinner is ready, sir." He went downstairs to the dining room. The room was damp and the wallpaper was peeling off near the floor. On a small round table without a tablecloth, there was a soup bowl and 3 sad-looking plates. Madame and Monsieur Padoy came in at the same time as Veraju. They all sat down at the table. Before eating, the husband and wife crossed themselves by touching their stomachs. Monsieur Padoy served the soup. It was meat soup because it was the day for pot roast. After the soup, they ate the beef. The meat was overcooked, soft, greasy, and unpleasant. Veraju ate slowly, feeling annoyed and tired. Madame Padoy turned to her husband and asked, "Are you going to the judge's house tonight?" "Yes, dear," he replied. "Don't stay out too late. You always get so tired when you go out. You're not healthy enough for that." Then she started talking about their social life in Vin. She told Veraju about the important people they knew and how their religious beliefs helped them make good friends. Next, they served mashed potatoes, which was a special treat for Veraju. After that, they had cheese. That was all. There was no coffee. When Veraju realized he would have to spend the evening alone with his sister, he felt miserable. She would scold him, lecture him, and talk about religion. And there wasn't even a glass of alcohol to make it easier. He couldn't take it anymore. He lied, "I need to go to the police station to take care of something about my leave." At 7 o'clock, he left the house. When he got outside, he shook himself like a dog shaking off water. He muttered, "Oh no. What a horrible life this is." Veraju left the house to find a cafe, the best one in town. He found it in a square, behind 2 streetlights. Inside, 5 or 6 men sat quietly, drinking and talking. They leaned on small tables while 2 men played billiards. The balls hit each other softly as they rolled across the green table. The players counted aloud. 18, 19. No luck. Good shot. Well played. 11. You should have hit the red one. 20. Missed. Missed. 12. Huh. I told you. Veraju called the waiter and ordered a small coffee and a little brandy, the best you have. Then he sat and waited. He was used to spending his free evenings in noisy places, full of laughter, talking, and smoke. But this cafe was too quiet. The calm made him angry. He drank his coffee, then the brandy, and asked for more. He started to feel excited. He wanted to laugh, shout, sing, and maybe even get into a fight. I'm halfway drunk now, he thought. I need some fun. He decided to find some women to keep him entertained. He called the waiter again. Hey, waiter. Yes, sir. Where can I have some fun around here? The waiter looked confused. I don't know, sir. Maybe here? Here? What do you mean? What do you call fun? I don't know, sir. Drinking good beer or wine, maybe? Forget it. What about women? Where can I find some women? The waiter's face changed, and he whispered, Oh, you want to know where they are? Yes, of course. Take the second street to the left, then the first to the right. Look for number 15. Thank you, my friend. Here's a tip for you. Thank you, sir. Veraju left the cafe, repeating the directions to himself. Second to the left, first to the right, number 15. But after a few moments, he stopped. Wait, he thought. Do I turn left or right when I leave the cafe? Oh, well, I'll figure it out. He kept walking, turned down the second street to the left, then the first to the right, and found number 15. The house looked nice. Light shone through the closed blinds upstairs. The door was partly open, and a lamp lit up the hallway. This looks good, Veraju thought. He went inside and called out, Hello? Hello. A young maid appeared, looking surprised to see a soldier. Hello, my dear. Are the ladies upstairs? Yes, sir. In the sitting room? Yes, sir. May I go up? Yes, sir. Is it the door across from the stairs? Yes, sir. He climbed the stairs, opened the door, and saw 4 women in fancy dresses. They were in a bright room with 2 lamps, a chandelier, and candles in golden holders. 3 young women sat stiffly on red velvet chairs. The 4th woman, who was older and heavier, was arranging flowers in a vase. She wore a green silk dress with short sleeves, and her powdered neck looked like a big flower coming out of her dress. Veraju greeted them. Good evening, ladies. The older woman turned to him, surprised, but replied politely, Good evening, sir. Veraju sat down but noticed they weren't very friendly. He started to wonder if only officers were allowed in this house. Feeling unsure, he tried to make conversation. Are you all well? Yes, thank you, said the older woman. The room grew quiet. Veraju felt awkward. To break the silence, he laughed nervously and said, Don't people have fun around here? Let me buy a bottle of wine." But before he could finish his sentence, the door opened. To his surprise, Padoy walked in, dressed in a black suit. Veraju shouted with joy, jumped up, and grabbed his brother-in-law. He spun Padoy around the room, shouting, "Here's Padoy! Here's Padoy! Here's Padoy!" Finally, he let go and looked at him. "Oh, you scoundrel. You're here for fun, too. What about my sister? Are you tired of her?" Veraju began to laugh loudly. He thought this was a perfect chance to get something out of Padoy, maybe some money. He threw himself onto a sofa, laughing so hard the furniture creaked. The three young women quickly left the room, and the older woman moved toward the door, looking like she might faint. Then two men walked in. They wore fancy suits and medals. Padoy ran to them and shouted, "Oh, Judge! He's crazy, completely crazy. He was sent to us as a sick man, but look at him." Veraju sat up, confused. He began to understand that he'd made a huge mistake. "What is this place?" he asked. But Padoy, now furious, shouted, "What place? What place? You scoundrel! This is the judge's house. The Supreme Court judge's house." He kept shouting, "You rascal! You villain! What a disgrace!